You've just unboxed your brand new DJI Mini 5 Pro. You charge it up, you drive out to the most beautiful spot you know, and you capture what feels like the shot of a lifetime golden hour. Perfect reflections, your drone gliding through the air like it was born to be there. You get home, buzzing with excitement, you plug in your memory card, and you open the footage, and it looks like garbage. Not because you flew badly, not because the light was wrong, because of one single setting, a setting almost nobody tells you about that quietly resets itself the moment you switch modes on this drone. I have seen this mistake wreck footage for total beginners and for grizzled 10-year drone veterans. It got me on a brand new drone just last month. So in this video, I am going to walk you through every setting you need to change the moment you take this drone out of the box, the safety settings that could save your drone from crashing into a tree, the image settings that separate cinematic footage from phone camera footage, and two features so well hidden inside the menus that DJI practically buried them on purpose. Stick around until the end, because I'm also throwing in one bonus setting that almost never gets mentioned, and it might be the most useful one on this entire list. Timestamps are below if you want to jump around, but honestly, watch this one start to finish, because these settings build on each other, and skipping ahead means you might miss the one thing that saves your drone or your footage. Let's get into it. The boring step nobody wants to do. I know. Nobody clicks on a drone video hoping to hear update your firmware. It's the vegetables of the drone setup meal. But here's the thing, several of the settings I'm about to show you literally do not exist unless your firmware is current. So if you skip this step, you might scroll through your menu wondering why your screen doesn't match mine, and it's simply because you're running outdated software. If you're flying with the Arc N3 controller, that's the one where you clip your phone in updating, is painless. Just update the DJI Fly app through your phone's app store like you would any other app, and it'll usually prompt the drone to update too. If you're rocking the RC2, the controller with the built-in screen and its own internet connection, you'll typically get a pop-up notification the moment it connects to Wi-Fi. But controllers are stubborn sometimes, and they don't always announce there's an update waiting. So here's your manual workaround. Tap the profile icon on the home screen, dive into Settings, find the Firmware section, and hit Check for updates yourself. Once the controller's sorted, go into the flight screen, tap those three dots in the corner, select About, and scroll down. If the drone itself needs an update, you'll see the button sitting right there. Takes 10 minutes, saves you a headache later. Moving on. Return to home. Alright, safety first. Because a drone with gorgeous 4K footage capability is worthless if it's sitting at the bottom of a lake. Return to home, or RITH, is the feature that kicks in automatically if you lose signal between your controller and the drone, or if the battery drops to a critically low level. When it activates, the drone takes over and flies itself back to a saved location, no input needed from you. Here's what most people don't realize. Out of the box, this is set to preset mode. And preset is honestly a little old-fashioned. In preset mode, the moment RITH triggers, your drone shoots straight up to whatever altitude you've configured, say 120 meters, then flies in a straight line back to the home point before descending. Sounds safe, right? The problem is, it's inefficient. Climbing that high burns through battery fast, and if you're already in a low battery emergency, that's precious time and power you don't have to spare. This is where optimal mode changes everything, and it's the one I want you to switch to immediately. With optimal selected, the drone becomes smart about its return path. It doesn't blindly climb to a fixed height, it dynamically calculates the most efficient route home, avoiding obstacles along the way and often flying much lower and faster. I've watched this drone actually thread itself back through a stone archway it originally launched from, adjusting its flight path in real time instead of smashing straight into the wall above. That's not a small upgrade. That's the difference between a smooth recovery and a very expensive mistake. Now here's a detail that trips people up constantly. Your drone's home point is set the very first moment it takes off. You'll actually see a little message flash on screen confirming it. If return to home ever triggers, the drone flies back to that exact spot, not to wherever you happen to be standing right now. So if you've been walking around, following the drone, filming yourself from a distance, and RITH kicks in, your drone is not coming to you, it's going back to where you started. That surprises people every single time. The fix is simple, though slightly manual. In the flight screen, tap the home point icon, and you'll find an option to update the home point either to your controller's current position or the drone's current position. Update it, and now your drone knows where home really is. The catch? It's a one-time update. Keep walking, and you'll need to update it again and again. Which brings me to a genuinely underrated new feature, Dynamic Home Point. It's tucked away deep enough in the settings that I guarantee half of you watching didn't know it existed. Once switched on, your home point automatically follows your controller wherever you go, no manual updates required. Whether you're hiking, boating, or just wandering around a festival capturing footage, your drone always knows exactly where you are. Flip this on. You'll thank me the first time you actually need it. Obstacle avoidance. Next, safety setting, and this one has genuinely saved my drone from disaster more times than I can count. Obstacle avoidance decides what your drone does when its sensors detect something in its path. But before we get into the two modes, there's a huge caveat you need to burn into your memory. None of this works in sport mode. 0. If you switch into sport mode for speed, obstacle avoidance switches itself off completely, no exceptions. So if you're flying fast through a tight area, you are 100% responsible for not hitting anything. Keep that in your back pocket. In normal and cine modes, though, you get a choice between two behaviors. The default is brake, and exactly like it sounds, if the drone detects an obstacle ahead, it simply stops dead in the air no matter what you're doing on the sticks. Push forward all you want, the drone holds its position until the obstacle clears or you steer away manually. Sounds safe in theory, but in practice it's often too cautious. I've had shots ruined because the drone braked for something barely in its peripheral flight path, a branch that wasn't really a threat, a pole slightly off to the side, and suddenly my beautiful smooth camera move grinds to an abrupt halt. Quick side note, you'll actually see a third option here too, simply labeled off, which disables obstacle sensing entirely. I don't recommend that one for casual flying, but professional pilots sometimes use it deliberately for specific creative shots where the sensors would otherwise interfere. For the other 99% of us, though, the real choice is between brake and bypass, and that's why I switch to bypass mode almost every time I fly. Instead of freezing, the drone calculates a path around the obstacle and keeps moving, adjusting its trajectory in real time while you're still pushing the same directional input. It feels almost like the drone has its own sense of self-preservation, dodging trees, poles, and structures without you touching a thing while your shot continues uninterrupted. It's not perfect, and I'd never suggest flying recklessly because of it, but for smooth, professional-feeling footage, bypass is the way to go. The mistake that ruins footage. Alright, here it is. The moment I teased at the very top of this video. Let's talk about resolution and frame rate and the sneaky little trap hiding inside this menu that has quietly ruined footage for more people than any other setting on this list. Straight out of the box, both of these drones default to 1080p, not 4K, not even close to the drone's real capability. If you don't manually change this, you are recording in a resolution your smartphone probably beats. To fix it, tap the resolution and frame rate icon in the bottom right corner of your controller screen and bump the resolution up to 4K. For frame rate, set it to 30 frames per second. Why 30? Two reasons. First, most platforms YouTube, Instagram, TikTok recommend a minimum of 30 FPS for footage to look smooth on playback. Second, anything lower, like 24 or 25 FPS, tends to introduce a subtle stutter or jerkiness whenever the drone moves quickly or you're tracking a fast subject. It's a small difference on paper, but it's very noticeable once you notice it. Now here's the mistake. Setting your resolution and frame rate in the standard video mode does not carry over to any other recording mode. Switch into master shots, quick shots, or any of the automated cinematic modes, and you'll find the resolution has quietly reset itself back down to 1080p, completely independent of what you configured a minute ago. This has caught out beginners, professionals, and yes, embarrassingly, it has caught me on a brand new drone mere weeks ago when I assumed my settings would just apply everywhere. They don't. So the very first time you set this drone up, go through every single recording mode one by one and manually crank each one up to 4K and 30 FPS. It takes maybe 2 extra minutes, and it is the single most avoidable disappointment on this entire list. Quick favor before we continue, if this tip alone just saved you from a wasted flight, smash that like button. It genuinely helps this video reach more people who are about to make the exact same mistake. And if you're into drones, gimbals, and action cameras, and you want quick, no-fluff setup guides like this one, consider subscribing. Alright, let's keep the momentum going, because the next tip might be the most counterintuitive one in the entire video. Pro Mode. Here's a tip that goes against everything your instincts tell you. Most people assume that switching into Pro Mode, where you manually control ISO and shutter speed like a real cinematographer, automatically gives you superior footage compared to leaving everything on auto. With most cameras, that instinct is correct. With this drone, it's actually backwards, and here's why. These drones come equipped with a feature DJI calls Dual Native ISO Fusion, often just shortened to ISO Fusion. In simple terms, the camera captures two exposures simultaneously, one slightly darker, protecting bright areas like the sky from blowing out, and one slightly brighter, pulling extra detail out of the shadows, then blends them together in real time into a single, beautifully balanced image with a much wider dynamic range than a single exposure could ever capture. Worth noting, this fusion trick is a Mini 5 Pro exclusive at the time of this recording. If you're on the entry-level Lito 1, you won't find this specific feature, though the flagship Lito X1 does share similar dynamic range advantages thanks to its larger sensor. The catch? This magic only happens when the exposure is set to auto. The instant you flip into Pro mode and manually dial in your own ISO, that fusion process switches off completely, and you lose all that extra dynamic range. If you genuinely want to shoot in Pro mode for creative control, there's a workaround. Just make sure ISO specifically is set back to auto, and you'll get that HDR blending back. But for the vast majority of casual and even semi-professional shooters, my honest advice is to just leave the whole thing on auto and let the drone do its very clever, very quiet trick in the background. Sometimes the smartest move is knowing when not to touch anything. Stop letting your footage look. If you've watched your first few clips back and thought something felt slightly off, a bit too crisp, a bit too artificial, almost like a video game that's not your imagination, straight out of the box, these drones apply fairly aggressive sharpening and noise reduction. And while that might sound like a good thing, it actually gives footage a harsh, over-processed look that reads as amateur rather than cinematic. Head into the settings menu, tap into the camera subheading, and scroll down until you find style. Expand it, and you'll see two sliders worth adjusting immediately: sharpness and noise reduction. Drop sharpness down to -1. To be clear, you are not losing image detail here, you're simply dialing back the artificial sharpening filter layered on top of the actual image, which tends to look far more natural and far less crunchy to the eye. Next, if you frequently shoot in lower light, you've probably noticed a smoothing effect being applied that can make textures look a little plasticky. Pull noise reduction down to -1 as well, and you'll retain more natural detail and grain instead of that waxy, over-smoothed look. These two tiny slider adjustments alone can be the difference between footage that screams shot on a drone and footage that just looks like a nice piece of cinema. The color profile. Now, if you genuinely want the best possible image quality this drone can produce, we need to talk about color profiles, because this single setting has the biggest impact on your final look of anything we've covered so far. Depending on your exact model, you'll see either 2 or 3 options here. Normal is the default, and it's designed to look great straight off the drone with zero editing required. Personally, I find it leans a little contrasty and occasionally oversaturated, but it's genuinely a solid, no-effort option for casual shooters who just want to post and move on. Then there's Plug, which isn't really a color profile so much as a display technology. If you shoot in LG and play the footage back on a device that supports HDR playback most modern smartphones, you'll notice a brighter, punchier image with more visible highlight detail. It's a neat feature, but it's more of a playback trick than a true grading tool. The one I genuinely recommend, though, is DLOG M. This is a flat, desaturated color profile specifically designed to preserve as much highlight and shadow detail as technically possible, giving you enormous flexibility to color grade the footage exactly how you want in post-production. Yes, it requires an extra editing step. The footage will look washed out and lifeless straight off the drone, but DJI provides free color LUTs you can download and apply with a single click, instantly transforming that flat footage into something rich and cinematic. I'll drop a link in the description so you can grab those LUTs yourself. One small companion tip: while flying in DLOG M, the live preview on your controller will also look flat and desaturated, which can be genuinely disorienting when you're trying to judge a shot in real time. Flip on Color Display Assist in the settings menu, and it adds contrast and saturation back into your live preview. Only the actual recorded footage stays flat and gradable. But now you can actually see what you're framing without squinting at a gray, lifeless image. 2 composition tricks. Technical settings aside, let's talk about composition, because even perfect exposure and color grading can't save a poorly framed shot. Head into Settings, find Grid Lines, and switch on the Rule of Thirds overlay. This doesn't get baked into your actual footage, it's purely a visual guide layered over your live preview to help you frame better in the moment. Here's technique number 1. Landscape shots. New pilots almost always split the frame 50-50 half sky, half ground, because it feels balanced. It isn't. Instead, tilt your gimbal until the horizon lines up with the upper horizontal grid line, giving you roughly 2/3 ground and 1/3 sky. This single adjustment instantly makes a shot feel more cinematic and intentional rather than centered and flat. Technique number 2 involves the intersecting points of that same grid. Beginners tend to place their subject dead center in the frame, and while that's not wrong exactly, it often feels a little static. Instead, try positioning your subject on one of the 4 intersection points bottom left, for example. This slightly off-center placement creates a more dynamic, natural-feeling composition, one where the viewer's eye is drawn to your subject but still gets to wander and explore the rest of the frame. Small adjustment, massive visual payoff. Try both of these on your very next flight and compare the results. The difference will surprise you. Recap and urgent. So there you have it, every setting I genuinely believe you should change the moment you unbox a DJI Mini 5 Pro or Lito series drone. If you only remember 3 things from this entire video, make it these: switch return to home into optimal mode, manually set your resolution and frame rate in every single recording mode, and turn on bypass for obstacle avoidance. Those 3 alone will make your flights noticeably safer and your footage noticeably better, starting with your very next flight. But here's the thing, settings like these get updated constantly with new firmware, and I promise you, DJI will keep quietly adding features buried in menus nobody thinks to check. If you don't want to miss the next one, hit subscribe right now, because I guarantee there will be more hidden gems worth knowing about before your next flight. I want to hear from you too. Are there any settings I missed, or lesser-known tricks you rely on that genuinely changed how you fly? Drop them in the comments below. I read every single one, and honestly, some of my best tips have come directly from viewers just like you. And if you're torn between the Mini 5 Pro, the Lito series, and the Neo 2, I've put together a full side-by-side comparison covering image quality, unique features, and exactly who each drone is really built for. Click the video on your screen right now, because choosing the wrong drone for your needs is a mistake far more expensive than any setting we covered today.